There it is.
There?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we are going to start our meeting. It is 5:33. We are here for the Student Success Committee meeting. The first thing we're going to do is call to order. Secondly, roll call. Erica Benavides Garcia, Chair, here. Jackie Levin Ramos, absent. Cindy Liendo, absent. Lissy Newsom,
Here.
and we also have our board president, Mr. Esteban Rangel.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
The first, Ms. Ramos just arrived for the record, okay? Our first thing on the agenda is a presentation for Laredo College Success Report Card as required by the Southern Association of Colleges and School Commission on Colleges, which is SACS COC, for Mr. David V. Ariazola. I'm going to use a pencil.
Good evening, board members, Madam Chair, Dr. Ramirez, David Arzola for the record, Vice President of Compliance and Risk Management, also Interim Vice President of Student Success and Enrollment. So every year, as required by the coordinating board and SACS-COC, we have to present a student success report card. Over the years, the metrics that we present have changed for different reasons, especially in this last couple of years. We've gone away from some of the things we used to use, like success in developmental courses, and so on and so forth, more to the metrics that are used by House Bill 8. But within that, we also like to look at some of the metrics that we like to view for ourselves, right? So House Bill 8 is important, and certainly money is the root of everything, right? But we have some things that we like to view to measure our own success. So within my presentation, you're going to hear me refer to our peer group. So the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board has identified these 8 other institutions as being our peers, right? They've grouped us together by enrollment. Certainly, Blinn College is a little bit bigger than most of the others, but they're not big enough to jump to the next category, so they're in here with us. But as you can see here, our enrollment has been very healthy. We're actually third when you rank us by the 3-year average enrollment for the last 5 years. And you can see, as we take a deeper look at enrollment, that for the last 3 years, we've had a steady increase in enrollment from 9,293 in fall 2022 to 11,029 in fall of 2024. I left out fall of 2025 because that's going to be part of, don't want to ruin the surprise for later, right? So that's going to be part of somebody else's presentation. But again, very healthy as far as enrollment. We like to see that number go up, no matter how much or how little. As long as it's going up, that's a good thing for the institution. Right? One of the important numbers that we as an institution like to examine as a way of how we're doing once we get the students in, right, are the 1-year persistence rate. So this is a measure of how many students come in, say in this fall, and then come back next fall, right? So this is our fall 1-year persistence rates. So again, over the last 3 cohorts, we have increased from 66% in fall 21 to fall 2022 to again, this last full cycle, again, it's too early to measure fall 2025, but this last complete cycle, fall 23 to fall 24, we're up to 71.8%. That means out of the first time in college students that they come in here, so over 71% of them are coming back the next fall. And that's a good measure of how we're doing and how we're treating these students once they're in here to make sure that they stay here at Laredo College. Of course, completion is our mission, right? So what Laredo College always intends to do is make sure that once we get the students in here, we keep them in here and we graduate them. So our 3-year graduation rate has also increased in the last 3 years. Again, so from fall 2019, the cohort that ran from fall 2019 to fall 2022, uh, we were at a 26.9% graduation rate over those 3 years. That has gone up to 34.4. Again, you look at that, it's 8 percentage points, but to move that needle isn't as easy as it sounds, right? So it's something that we're happy to see, and certainly um, a good indicator of the success of the institution. This is a big one. I know Dr. Tejerina stepped out, but um, this is a number that we have been uh, kind of keeping an eye on as long as, well, way back as 2012. These two numbers right here, which we call degree efficiency. So this is how long it takes a student to graduate from the college, right? So on the left-hand side in the yellow bars, that's the number of hours it takes them to get an associate degree, right? So an associate degree is 60 hours. Right now, on average, the last number we got is that on average, a student takes 68 hours to graduate. Now, again, you think 68 hours to 60 hours. That number used to be 88 when we first started looking at it, or 90 in 2012. That's something that we've been working really hard to bring down with the help of financial aid and some other things that that have pushed that number down. But
Do you think, I'm sorry, do you think that the 8-week courses have
absolutely,
helped?
absolutely, from
And the
last year to
4-week
this
courses
year,
have helped?
no doubt.
Very good.
That has
Okay.
a big impact. The same thing goes on the right-hand side. You see the green bars. Also, you see pretty consistent the previous 2 years at 3.4 years for them to finish. That's now down to 3.2. Again, that's a hard needle to move. The fact that we're able to bring it down is a good measure of some of the things that we're doing all the way around, right? Not just in one area, but it does take everybody to move that needle, right?
Sir, I have a quick question. I just wanted to know, does this include like the dual enrollment numbers? Or,
No, these are first time in college students. So the dual enrollments don't count that as first time in college students until they actually come here after graduation. So these are all fresh, brand new students
that's
coming.
good to hear. Thank you.
Another number that we know that the 8-week courses especially, and some of the OER initiatives that academics has undertaken over the last couple of years has a great impact on student success rates as far as course completion. So this is the percentage of students that get A, B, or C in their courses, right? So in fall 22, that was at a 77.16. Over the last 2 years, that has skyrocketed up to an 85.49%. Again, the 8-week we know had a big impact on that number, and we also know that if students are getting good grades, that they're likely to stay and they're likely to graduate, right? So as long as we can keep them in here and doing well, we know that they're going to stay. In some of the other areas, I borrowed this from Dr. Ortiz's team, but this is an area where I know Dr. Ortiz and her team have been working really hard to secure some resources for our students, whether they're grants to help some of our programs, scholarship money to help some of our students directly. Our numbers are very healthy as far as what we've been able to secure in the last couple of years, right? I really like this next one, right? So the number of students that we've impacted through scholarships over the last 3 years is almost 4,000 students have received. There might be some duplicates there, but over 4,000 scholarships have been given by the institution. Again, a great testament to the teamwork of institutional advancement and the Student Success and Enrollment Division, Ms. Brenda Diaz, right? So we've given a lot of money away to helping our students again. Any way that we can help them, whether it's
God bless you.
through scholarships or through meals or the Palomino Pledge, all of those things are important to students and a good way to keep them here and on track to get an education. Last couple of things. I mentioned House Bill 8 earlier. So the House Bill 8 outcomes are, I've narrowed them down to these 6 or 7. I mean, so these are outcomes that we track because they directly lead to funding, right? So I always like to think of these outcomes as points, right? So for every, say, every student in dual that earns 15 semester credit hours, we get a point, right? And then that point gets translated into money that the state gives us. So these are important because they directly impact the financial health of the institution, right? You won't hear me say credential values too much today because that's really next year is going to be a big year for the COVs. But some of the things that are different in the way the House Bill 8 outcomes are done, especially this year, they're tracking occupational skills award. Those are short-term programs in the workforce or in continuing ed. They also are placing higher importance on, it's easier to say the acronym, ICLCs, so institutional credentials leading to licensure or certification. So that is just that. It's not just getting a certificate or a degree, but also a certification after that. So here's how we're doing on some of these outcomes, right? So I want to point out, first of all, the 15 SCH, the dual credit. So again, that's how many students in dual credit have earned 15 semester credit hours, right? The last, in FY 2025, we had 1,631. That places us at 11th in the state, right? So there's 50 community colleges.
Wow.
50,
Okay.
and we are the 11th highest scorer on that one, right? And amongst our peers in the large community college, so the list of colleges I showed you earlier, we're actually number 1 in that group, right?
Wow.
So that is a big number because that actually, of the money that we're getting from the state, about 23% of that money comes from that category. So we're doing very well in the dual credit category. Same thing goes for transfer. Last count, we had 1,239, places us 12th in the state. Again, up there because we need to consider that there's 50 community colleges, and second amongst our peers. Again, that's another about 20% of our state funding comes from that category. And the other categories that you see there, I don't have them in any particular order, but you see for ICLCs, we granted 483 ICLC, places us 7th in the state.
Wow.
Right? So top 10 there, and third amongst community colleges in our peer group. For OSAs, again, 11th in the state for 238 OSAs that we granted, and second amongst our peer group. So we're really ahead of our peers in OSAs. Certificates, we awarded 661 certificates, puts us 17th in the state, still good, and 4th in our large peer group category. And for associate degrees, 1,211, again, 15th, again, still pretty solid,
Mhm.
and fourth amongst our peer groups. Um, I'm sorry. So 1284 is the current value, puts us 15th and fourth in the large community college. And one of the more uh, impressive numbers, actually, we had a room for one more category, but in 2022, right before this table started, we had 9 bachelor's degrees awarded. This last year, 66, right? That's a big jump, and places us eighth amongst the 50 community colleges, and first in our peer groups, right? So if you think about why some of those things happen, or why it really is, actually, I think, everybody in this room, right? Pretty much that contributes to what these numbers, how these numbers are the way they are, right? So from academics to donors to the workforce and the programs to orientation to some of the things going on in enrollment management. I mean, IT, they're providing some support. So again, it really, I know it sounds cliche, but it really is a group effort, and of course, Mr. Vela paying for everything, and
I
yes,
know.
and
Yeah.
Dr. Ramirez leading us all. So, and the board making decisions that to put us in the right direction, right? So, it really is a team effort, and a testament to everybody in the room that we do as well as we do. The work now is just to keep it up.
Thank you. Ms. Ramos?
Dr. Resola, so this report can attribute to our accreditation and to our funding, right?
Yes.
It works hand in hand together,
Yes,
right? So maybe food for thought is, how do we compare with other peer groups in the area of dual enrollment and full-time students? So we are in the large category, right?
Mhm.
Not the very large, but the large category
Right.
of colleges. So how are they with their dual enrollments? Do they have as many as, for example, Blaine and Tyler?
Percentage wise, yes,
Okay.
we're all hitting that over 50.
50, okay,
It's kind of between 50 and 60%.
okay. I have another question.
Yes, go right ahead.
I wrote my questions down. Second question. So where does the Palomino Pledge, where is it noted in the student success report? Is it identified as the Palomino Pledge where you put students impacted through scholarships? Or is that just an overview?
No, it is included in there, I believe, right there, the Palomino Pledge is in.
Yes.
Yes,
So it's part of this whole entire thing.
yes, it is.
Is there a place where you document the various scholarships and the grants, like by line item, like most of this money is coming from Palomino Pledge, this money is coming from grants, or this coming from a foundation and so forth? So like, I know maybe you don't note it on the student success report, but maybe.
It's not
if-
required.
It's not, if it's not required, but for us, to see how much is it that we are actually paying out from Palomino Pledge and foundation and scholarships and so forth. So, because this,
So can I answer that?
Go ahead.
May I answer that? Okay, so the way the financial aid system is required to work, the students' entitlements have to be expanded first. So their Pell goes first, then whatever state monies go second. Then thirdly, we do scholarships and grants. And then fourthly, if they don't qualify for any of the above and qualify, they may qualify for Palomino Pledge. Not everybody does.
right.
Because they have to be enrolled full-time, because there are some, you have to be in good standing. And you have to be meeting SAP. So the Satisfactory Academic Progress Plan. And so if they're not meeting those requirements, then they don't qualify for the Palomino Pledge either. And so that's the way we spend the money. The scholarships typically come in third,
And then Palomino Pledge last. Last year, we spent maybe a fourth of the Palomino Pledge. Am I correct, Mr. Vela? About a fourth of the Palomino Pledge that we had set aside is what we spent because we wanted to expire all the other stuff first. And by to use federal entitlements first, state entitlements second, and then our scholarships, so that we can continue to have enough funding in our institutional coffers, so that if for some reason in 1 year we get cut, and we almost did this year, we almost lost a lot of the Pell Grant this year, we would be prepared to support our students with additional funding, whether it be from endowments and scholarships and grants or the Palomino Pledge. So there is a hierarchy of expenditures that we have to follow, and we report that to the state through the financial aid office. But so these are the metrics that we're required to report as part of our SACS report card, our student success report card. And so that's, and we're required to present it to the board before we submit it to SACS.
Correct.
So
And so what happens with a student who does not qualify for federal Pell? Do they go straight to the state and then to the Palomino Pledge?
no, they go to Pell, they go to state, and then they go to the scholarships and grants, and then they go to the Palomino Pledge. So they may qualify for a grant or scholarship, a local endowment of some sort. And so we try to use those funds first before we use our local money or our Palomino Pledge, because a lot of those, and Mr. Gonzalez is here, and we've had this argument over and over again about, we have donors that want to give money and they want to give for certain, they want to pay for tuition and fees. Well, about 90% of our students are getting Pell Grant.
Right.
So their tuition and fees are covered with their Pell Grant. So there's nothing I can do about that. Because the entitlement goes first.
First, correct.
And
Yes.
that's required. So the idea is, how flexible can we be with our scholarships and private donors who, when they give money for a certain criteria, then if we don't have anybody that meets that criteria, we can't give away that money, because the intent of the donor is what's required.
Correct.
Right.
And we're also still with the same, that we don't allow our students to borrow loans.
We don't have loans.
Right.
We don't do
have
loans.
because if that happens, then we can get into they get into default, and we are also
Well,
contributing to
our debt rate then
debt
becomes a problem.
Mhm.
No, the institution did away with loans about 5-6 years ago, Mr. Vela?
10.
Longer?
Longer.
It's been a long
It's
time
been a long time. It's a long time.
since they don't, because all of their Pell Grant covers all their tuition and fees.
Correct.
Students were getting Pell and then borrowing money and then not paying it back. And it created a problem for the institution,
Sure.
which when your debt rate goes up to double digits, it starts to
Bless
affect,
you.
your Title IV funding, which is your Pell Grant and
Correct.
your other grants.
Mhm.
And so to maintain and manage that long-term, you're better off not giving them. There's no need for them to take out a loan here. And now, under new legislation from the federal government, undergraduates are capped at $50,000 for an undergraduate degree.
Which is good.
So long-term, that, I don't know how that's going to work out for students that are going to go on to professional school and stuff, but it's something we have to track. And every course a student takes in high school affects their financial aid
Correct.
once they start here as a regular student.
Yes.
I wonder if they know that, do they?
We've told them numerous times, over and over and over
No, not
again.
many, no.
Maybe they don't pay attention.
And they-
They don't pay
Right.
attention.
Right.
And they say they don't, but I know that both from the academic side and from the enrollment management side, we've told dual credit faculty, we've told the high school counselors, we've told high school administrators, we've told everybody. And we've been telling them for years. Every course they take in high school will affect their financial aid once they become a regular student.
Yeah.
It will, by law. It's not our rule.
Right.
Mhm.
It's not policy. It is by statute, by federal statute. It's
Madam-
required. I'm
Madam
sorry.
Chair, may I-
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Commissioner Rangel?
Dr. Tesoro, this last slide, it's very impressive, honestly, and you said it perfectly by everybody in this room, is the reason why these numbers are the way they are. And it's just really, really impressive. My question is on the, excuse me, on the bachelor's degree, on the 50 colleges that we have, are all 50 colleges doing a bachelor degree?
No.
No?
Some do not.
If I remember correctly, the numbers are in the 20s.
In the 20s?
About
Like
28,
half about?
About half. Yeah.
Half of them, okay.
Mhm.
It's
And
still
then-
impressive.
Yeah, it's still very, I mean, even though
Yes.
it might be 10 or 15 or 20, I mean, we're still number one on that one. My next question was, I like the fact of how you're seeing those, graduate and everything, and the numbers have gone up because of, I want to say, like you all mentioned, because of those 8-week courses. Have we looked at the possibility of having as many 8-week courses for the amount of classes that we offer? I mean, I know maybe some of them we can, but some of them we can't. Or have we looked at the possibility of doing that? I don't know if it's possible. I don't know. I'm not an academic person, Doc, but I'm just wondering, like, can we do this? I'll give you an example. Can we do this for like Algebra 1301 example, right? Like, can we do that?
We do.
Oh, we do. So we ventured to do it for all classes already that we can?
So Marisela Rodriguez Tijerina, Provost Vice President of Academic Affairs. I apologize. I have really bad allergies right now, but
That's what everybody says before. It's
in regards to your question, the workforce is already at a 4-week, not 8-week. So
Wow.
they're focusing on one class at a time because of the skills that are
Mhm.
incorporated, and that has also shown very high percentage on student success rates. Health science, the majority are 8-week. However, there's still some that may be on a 16-week, just depending on clinicals. Or like you say, there's some specialty courses that we just don't touch because of the complexity
The
or
nature of
because
the
of the
class.
nature of the course. Academics is 100% 8 weeks.
Wow, okay.
General,
I
so
didn't,
like
I didn't know.
the
I was
math,
just,
yeah,
general.
the
I just
general.
wanted to make sure that, because I know for a fact that is working. I literally saw a colleague of mine in LISD. She graduated with an associate's last year, and I congratulated her. I just congratulated her right now for getting her bachelor's. So I know it's working. So I was just wondering if we ventured, and now you're answering the
Well,
question.
and the bachelor's is 7-week programs for
Okay.
both.
But yeah,
So-
but I know it's working because I've heard it from a lot of people that it's just remarkable, those classes. I mean, they rather just keep going just to get it done as soon as possible, right? So
Well,
but-
and I think that within that same vein, the fact that the faculty have been able to design those courses to meet the demand of whether it's a licensure or certificate. Keep in mind that there are some other courses or programs like the OSAs, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because I know the numbers are kind of not skewed. We're bound by rules. So an OSA cannot exceed a certain number of hours, but it cannot be less than another
Okay.
certain number of hours. And the same thing with the ICLCs.
so within that
So
bracket.
those, they have to fall within the particular range as required by the state.
Got it.
So, and those are going to take on a very different scheduling approach as well. And in some cases, the OSA will be like a precursor to a regular program. And so it's very much a balancing act, especially when it comes to faculty being able to, they're teaching this class that's an OSA, but that class that's a part of a regular program, and then they're, some are teaching in the workforce program as well. And so we're trying to measure that and balance that is real difficult sometimes, but obviously they manage,
I
the
know.
numbers are
No,
there.
no, I was just wondering, you're answering the question, but overall, great work, guys. Honestly, wow.
Also, I would like to applaud everybody in this room and our, when I came in 3 years ago is when all of this was getting started. Okay. And there was a lot of pushback because, I mean, change is hard for everyone, right? But you all have taken the bull by the horns and you have done a fantastic job. And all of these indicators and rankings and information that you have for us shows us that. So, I mean, it is documented, and you all are doing a great job, and I, hope that you continue to do such.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, Miss.
I concur.
Okay.
Could you state when the report is due? Because I know we have to add other things from the board and so forth. So the report is due at the beginning of September, correct?
Right,
September
September 8th.
1st, right?
September 1st.
Yes.
8th. September 8th.
Oh, September 8th.
Okay,
Okay.
but you haven't, I mean,
Yeah,
Our internal submission is like next week,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yes, that's good.
just so we can make sure that the board is also in compliance. So, to make sure to turn that in.
Any other questions for Dr. Ariazola? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I don't think you're going too far, though. Enrollment report update, Dr. David Ariazola and Miss Jessica Trevino.
Hello again, David Arzola, Vice President of Compliance and Risk Management, Interim Vice President of Student Success and Enrollment. And as I mentioned in my presentation, my report was on the previous numbers. Mr. Trevino here will provide a report on some of our current numbers that we're looking at for this fall of 2025.
Good evening, Jessica Trevino, Associate Vice President of Enrollment Management for the record. So presenting you today with our enrollment timeline, which we've kind of come across throughout the entire summer. Today is our first class day of the fall 2025 semester. So these numbers that you're seeing are as of noon today, but they could still be changing because the Lerma Peña is still full of students registering or making some changes.
Good.
The next slide that you're seeing here is the slide that I presented last time around on our last board meeting, I believe July 30th. And it was a little scary because we knew we had a long way to go in terms of our enrollment. At that time, we were at 6,777 students difference from where we were last fall. Keeping in mind that last fall of 2024, the 11,027 students included the second 8 weeks students. That was the note made. However, I am very happy to report that this is our current enrollment, which you're seeing on the screen right now. There is, like Dr. Arresola mentioned, a very slight increase. Definitely a team effort.
Yes, exactly.
There is an increase of 19 students, possibly 20, because we're continuing to register here, from the fall 2024. However, it is good to note that this 11,046 is including some of the already registered second 8 week students. However, we still have 40 days left of registration
Wow.
for the second 8 weeks. So
Amazing.
pretty much anything we register from this point forward would be an increase or in excess of what we had last year. So definitely a team effort. I do want to note, however, that dual enrollment changes continue to come in. We have been working very closely with Dr. Tijerina and her team on the changes that we're receiving from the high schools, whether it's time change, instructor changes, roster changes, and all of that fun stuff that is still ongoing. And we hope to finalize that no later than today, tomorrow,
Okay.
hopefully not Wednesday, but yeah. I do have a enrollment report to date. This is comparing August 18, 2025 versus August 18 of 2024. I do want to note that last fall of 2024, the first class day, as it's noted at the bottom of the screen, was actually August 22nd. So that would be Friday. Okay, so that just fair for everybody to know. The dual enrollment office was busy at work last fall, trying to catch up, and this time around, they're pretty much set, other than the changes that are coming in, which puts us at about 2,533 students ahead of where we were last year to date. Questions up to here?
Very good.
No? Okay, perfect. The last slide that I have for you, shifting gears from enrollment to commencement, outcomes-based. I do have the final number of actual participants. I added it to your chart that you're seeing on here. In the last presentation, we only had the number of candidates and the number of participants that were scheduled to go. Now we actually have the number of actual participants that went to each ceremony. In addition to that, we do have a couple of announcements for today. Diplomas are ready for pickup. So diplomas from this summer have started to be issued out today, starting today. Transcripts are also ready for ordering. Any graduate who graduated in the summer can already order their transcript online, parchment.com. And of course, the pictures for graduation are also already ready for purchase, and all the information can be found on the graduation website. And that's it, nice and short. Any questions?
Any questions? Anyone?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to go ahead, Jessica, and of course everybody else, but congratulate you on a great graduation. It was really nice, and it was really nice seeing all those kids, graduating and everything. So I just want to congratulate you on a great work, so you could tell your staff as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Definitely a team effort. Thank you.
Good
We are outgrowing our space though, so
I was
we have a plan.
Yes, Mrs.
Yeah.
Newsom?
I was just gonna make a comment, and it's positive, right? But so that we can be proactive for next time. Yeah, the space is, because I got to attend one of them. I couldn't make both, I think was our still first days of school for me. But yes, there was people waiting outside in the heat, and a lot of people didn't get to go in. So I don't think you all give tickets. We're gonna have to kind of do something like the way the high school graduations, like, hey, you know what? Each graduate, you only get this many tickets, and you decide who you're gonna give them to, and that's it. So you need a ticket to go in, because the other way, then there was, family members that they weren't able to get in. And so I would, hope that, it's a simple system. Every graduate, you get this many, y se acabó.
And every year has been an improvement for us in terms of the graduation being hosted here. Last summer, we actually issued out tickets, and we ended up with a lot of empty seats because graduates had tickets, but their family didn't show.
But that happens,
That-
because that even happens at the LEA.
Mhm.
I mean, and I guess that maybe since they had never had that problem before, they allowed,
Right.
because that does happen even at the LEA. I mean, maybe not for the big schools like United and, but for the other schools, it does happen because some kids don't have anybody and they hold on to their tickets while others
Would've wanted
always
more.
are looking, because they have
Yeah.
a lot more people.
But
Definitely.
but with that being said, it's still better that, you have some empty seats than people outside waiting in the heat, and that's.
And we did have 2 overflow rooms available for individuals to avoid the wait in the heat. Some individuals just opted to wait for their graduate upon exiting. So
Just
but
a
we do have a
suggestion
plan.
for next time, just if we can.
Okay.
I don't know if you
We'll
were
look
doing
at
the
it.
tickets, right? Go back to, were you all doing the tickets before?
I
Right?
think
You're
they were,
saying, yeah?
yes.
Yes, last summer we
I
did
would just say
tickets.
Maybe go back. Because I think you're having more graduates too, right? Like,
Yes,
that's the
we're
thing. Yeah,
increasing our
yeah.
number of graduates
Yeah.
too. But
So,
we're still working on a plan for next summer. We're going to look at
Maybe we
fall.
can have 3 graduations. Okay. Well, good. It's always good to improve. Yes.
yeah, just
Sure.
to improve, yeah.
Ms. Ramos?
Definitely.
And I do want to say, I want to commend you because I came to the one in the morning. So it worked out very well. And I could see there were 114 actual participants and 111. So when I think about a graduation, I think about a wedding. So it only happens once, right?
Right.
For that individual. So the party that's going to be participating in the graduation, it'll be one time. It won't be repeated. So maybe it will be repeated with a different type of degree and so forth. But that moment in time for them is the only time available. So the morning one ran real smoothly. Everybody just came in and do whatever they had to do. Maybe the afternoon, I wasn't there. I didn't see anything because I didn't attend, but I can see the difference. You had more students graduating in the morning than you did in the afternoon. Sometimes maybe it's the parents, they say, let's invite everybody instead of maybe just the immediate family. So
Or knowing that, hey, there's no tickets, so you don't have to come. Anybody and everybody can come.
So from the morning ceremony to the afternoon ceremony, something that we did different was actually sit the entire party, asking the guest if their entire party was here, so that we could ensure no chair was being skipped at all. In the morning, we did have some individuals, although we said it,
Yeah.
no reserving of seats.
Yeah.
There were still
Right.
some
Right.
reservation of
Big
seats.
deal.
In the afternoon, though, when we brought in parties, we did get up to parties of 12 people being
So,
seated
some,
together. We
yes.
had
Yeah.
single attendees or just two,
Or
parties of
12.
two, or parties of 9, 10, 11,
Yeah.
12. Yes.
Yes.
And I know that they weren't allowed to move from their seat because that was a seat that they got. Because I had a friend of mine who said, I can't move. My daughter's going to graduate and she needs something. So I was like, I'm not there. So she goes, oh my gosh, well, we'll let her figure it out. And she figured it out. You know what I mean? So, but I commend you on a job well done. The team worked very well. Everybody was doing, at least for in the morning, I really was very impressed. I had not been to graduations since I retired. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
It's a good problem to have. So we have a year to plan.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to number 5, Laredo College Student Orientation. Mr. Pedro Rivera.
So, again, David Arasola, Vice President of Compliance and Risk Management, the interim Vice President of Student Success and Enrollment. I have Mr. Rivera here present on orientation. That's one of our big engagement events. But I did want to add, just like on a personal note, I had both my son and my nephew attend orientation. And the biggest compliment I can give Mr. Rivera is, these are 18-year-old boys. Everything is lame, right? Well, they don't use lame anymore. They use other words. But for them to say, and I asked my son, how was it? It was pretty cool, Dad. That's
That's a lot.
18-year-old
Wow.
boys,
That's a lot.
that's a big compliment. So I know I haven't seen the exact numbers, but I'm excited to see some of the numbers on Mr. Rivera because I know they were up there, right? And with some of them. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Greetings, everyone, members of the board, Madam President. Pedro Rivera, Director of Student Life. I am here to give you our new student orientation season 2025 report. It's more than anything a recap of everything that we've done. I do see some newer members of the board, so I'm going to go ahead and provide some sort of definition for orientation, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page here today. In essence, orientation is teaching our incoming students Laredo College 101. It's Laredo College basics, anything and everything that we believe is essential for them in terms of student success. We make sure that we teach them. We prepare students to be successful for their first day of classes and their first week of classes. And that is by intention, that is by design. It has been proven that for many first-time in college students, that first day and first week of class is either what can make you or break you. And we want to make sure that our students basically step foot on campus with the right foot and that they're able to, hit the ground running on the first day of classes. One last thing that I want to make sure that I mention in this slide is that orientation is mandatory. It is completely mandatory. People have to do it. And it's definitely something that I brought in when I started working in this institution, but it's definitely something that has been working, and we will see that in the numbers that I present to you all later. We have multiple objectives for new student orientation. Moving forward, we'll just call it NSO. One of the main objectives for NSO is ensuring that our students are familiar with their support services and the multiple resources that we have available at their disposal. And so this can span from everything, all the way from being able to use the Maravillo gym in the pool, or using tutoring services on campus. Everything and anything that we can offer is presented to them. The next thing we want to focus on is making sure that our students are familiar with campus. I love to tell this joke when I meet students for the first time. I ask them to do a show of hands, and I ask them, hey, can you tell me where the restroom is? And when nobody raises their hand, I tell them, how can I expect you to be successful or get to class on the first day of classes on time if you don't even know where the restroom's at? And so that definitely drives the point home. Next, we also want to focus on creating affinity with our institution, making sure that our students are proud to be Palominos. You can see it in the background of the presentation. That's basically a bunch of doodles that showcase everything that Laredo College has to offer. It basically ties in our traditions. And last but not least, arguably one of the most important aspects of NSO is actually building connections, helping students build connections. When students get there the morning of, we basically divide them into 6 different groups. And those groups are completely random. We don't choose by high schools, we don't choose by anything aside from phone numbers. We basically get our reports, we randomize by phone numbers, and we put everybody in different groups with the sole purpose of making sure that they talk to someone that they've never talked to before. And in hopes of making sure that they create a new friend that they can rely upon once the semester begins. One of the most important aspects of orientation, if not the most important, is actually our revamped orientation leader program. This is the first time that we have done something like this at Laredo College. And I am very happy to say, in my few years of professional experience, about 7, this has been the most smooth orientation experience I've ever had. And everything relies on our student orientation leaders. We revamped our program. We started training them a little bit earlier. We opened up applications to be an orientation leader, and students were actually interested in applying to these jobs. We had over 90 applicants, if I'm not mistaken. We were only able to hire 14. That was the number of people we had available. But it's testament that this orientation leader program that started 2 years ago is something that students are liking and something that students want to be during their time here at Laredo College. And like I said, they did really well. They made my life easy. I was out during the summer for a surgery, and I didn't even worry about orientation. And that's where we need to be. We need to be at the point where we feel that not only our full-timers, but even our student employees can run these programs and can run them well. And I think that actually ties in really well with what Dr. Dave mentioned. Our orientation leaders make orientation fun. And we'll see a little bit of feedback from our students that completed orientation, specifically about orientation, but more importantly about the orientation leader experience. This is our basic schedule. One thing that some members of the board will notice is that we actually made orientation shorter. I am a huge believer in feedback and actually listening to the students. And so we actually made orientation shorter. Last year, orientation basically was something that finished at 7 p.m. We made it 2 hours shorter this time around. But everything is pretty much the same thing. Nothing really has changed. We compacted certain aspects of our presentations and content by providing a lunch presentation. So as students are having lunch, we present to them. That way we save a good 45 minutes of content, and we're able to get them out of here faster, which is ultimately what they want. But everything stays the same. We'll go over financial aid presentations, basics for college readiness, how to use Canvas, how to use Passport, how to talk to your professors, email them, so on and so forth. Counseling, Title IX, mental health, which are requirements by the state of Texas that we have to complete. We also have some time built in for completion of an orientation survey, which I will share with you very soon. And last but not least, our first introduction to the Maravillo Gym, right? Or the JC Trevino Fitness Center. That was actually ran by Mr. Mancano and his rec and esports team. That's our schedule in a nutshell.
Mr. Deva, I have a question.
Yes, please, of course.
For your orientation and is it only here at Fort Mac, or do you have one over there at the South as well?
We have some over there, and I can actually share the dates with you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We have.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, please. No,
I got ahead.
absolutely. A great question.
Okay.
Great question. We
On to
offer
your next
orientation. We offer orientation at both campuses,
Okay.
and that's a given. And that's
Okay.
one of the best things that I can say the Office of Student Life will offer. Anything that we offer here is offered at the South Campus, sometimes even concurrently. Today, we were at multiple places at the same time, and that's by design. The experience that our students are having here at Fort Mac is the same experience that they receive at the South Campus. We had multiple different dates. Our South Campus orientation dates have historically been a little bit smaller, and that's perfectly fine. We plan appropriately. We had 4 sessions over at Fort Mac this time around, and 3 sessions over at the South Campus. And that is, we're looking at data, and I will say very gladly that this was the right move. We actually had more people in attendance at every single one of these sessions because we basically decreased the number. The numbers next to the dates are actually the number of people that attended our orientation sessions. We broke records this year in terms of total attendance, 1,171 students overall throughout the entire summer. But we actually broke records in terms of the attendance at both Fort Mac and South Campus individual sessions. We broke records on August 14th for our Fort McIntosh orientation, in which we welcomed 401 students. And over at the South Campus, we broke that record literally in our first orientation session available over there with 124. But those are our totals. Once again, we can see that the South Campus is a little bit smaller, but that's perfectly fine, right? The South Campus is smaller and designed in a different way. And so sometimes having smaller groups makes it easier, makes the experience a little bit better too.
Okay.
This is my favorite part of this presentation because it's easy to rack up numbers. It's easy to reach out to students. We call them, we text them, we email them every single day. They're probably tired by us by the end of the summer. But the student feedback is genuinely what proves that this program is being successful and that we're able to find that happy medium between making sure that something is informative, but also that it's fun and something that actually proves to be an enjoyable experience for them that kind of breaks the ice and makes sure that they, come to Laredo College being happy that they're Palominos. I'm very happy to say that out of 5 stars, our entire orientation sessions can basically be graded out of 4.7 stars out of 5. So that is really, really good. We had 539 submissions throughout the entire summer. So about half of them participated, which is really, really good. Getting half of the students to compete in something that is not mandatory is really, really good. Some of the feedback that I got that basically summarizes everything that we did is here. You answered all my questions. We love hearing stuff like that. We love reading stuff like that. Tiring, but totally worth it, right? We shortened the orientation by 2 hours and they still get tired. Very fun, nice people, and this showcases our orientation leaders. They kept the vibe really funny and very cool. I like to finish this presentation with these last 3 slides because they highlight what the favorite aspect or the favorite part of our orientation attendees was. And this one's very interesting because they said the following: when they let us know the ways that we can keep or lose our financial aid, no one before told me about that information. And it highlights that we are doing a service that unfortunately not many students have at home or that not many students have in the high schools. We are teaching them the basics to being here. And specifically in financial aid. That is so important because it's one of the main reasons why our students decide to join us in the first place. Another student mentioned that their favorite part was when they started playing games after an intense game of tic-tac-toe. I play in the game room to play foosball with another person and had a lot of fun there. And so we can see the polar opposites of what I'm talking about today, where we talk about something as important as financial aid and making sure that we're eligible and making sure that we continue receiving those awards semester by semester. And then on the other hand, you have someone that had a lot of fun playing foosball, right? And it's very interesting and very, I think for me, it's re-energizing to see stuff like that. And I will end the presentation by this one, which is my favorite that I heard from one of the students. My favorite part of orientation is cuando ya nos vamos. Yes. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, it's vamos.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes, please.
what happens to those that don't attend? You have like a number, right? And then
Yes.
the ones that don't attend, where can they get oriented?
Great question. So those that don't complete a face-to-face orientation, our priority is making sure that our students are on campus. A lot of the things that we do require them to be on campus. I'll give you a great example, the meal plan. They have to be on campus to basically eat meals on campus. And so we try to instill that feeling or that need of being on campus through orientation. Basically, before they even start their classes, we make them come in. But those that don't complete a face-to-face orientation, we keep record of those, we keep track of those, and they're obligated, for the lack of a better term, to complete an online orientation. This online orientation is completed through Canvas, which is actually pretty innovative. Not many colleges do that. Canvas is basically what they use for their courses. And so we ensure that the student is familiar with the platform that we use to complete orientation, but at the same time ensure that they get everything that they should have received through orientation. Mind you, there's multiple components that play an important factor in this. So not only do we make sure that they receive what they need to be successful on the first day, which by the point, if they ever don't attend face to face and they have to do it online, we kind of missed our mark there. But there's also requirements in terms of the state that we have to make sure that we provide them with. And so we basically have to do it.
Well, at least the information is there to them, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Go ahead.
That information will be available. The best part of having something on Canvas, the student is familiar and it's available to them 24 hours. And so I cannot articulate how many times I've seen people complete their online orientation requirements at 4 a.m. Because that's the time that our students have time to do these things, or when they're bored and have nothing else to do. But they get it done. And I think that's the most important thing that I will say when it comes to that.
Can I
Yes,
say
Ms.
one
Ramirez.
last thing? I want to commend you and everyone who participates in this orientation. When I first started on the board, I envisioned an orientation that would provide students with pride for attending a Laredo College, not just because they couldn't go anywhere else, but because this was the place where they needed to be. And so I commend you on the job well done. You know, it's been building up as the years have passed by, but you've brought a sense of pride to the students. You also have encouraged them to have this mandatory. There was a time when it was sporadic. It was just the orientations were done here, there, everywhere. And, you know, maybe they had some, but it wasn't, the emphasis was not placed on the students that were coming in. So I've noticed a difference, and I really do appreciate Dr. Ramirez and our admin staff, you know, working together. I think it really delivers quality package to the student and what they want to return back. Because like I was saying about the graduations, orientation is once in a lifetime. You only get that chance to be able to come and witness, and so you have to put on a very good promotion
God
of the
bless you.
college. Bless you, of the college itself. So I commend you and the entire staff and registration, everybody who works together to get the kids to come in and participate in orientation.
Yes.
Very
But like
very
all
well
those
done.
kids, they
And
keep hoping for all of
I
Thank
mean,
you. I
A
think,
plus plus.
thank you. I think you hit the nail on the head on that one. For the most part, I think the majority of our staff, our student employees, we always tell them that we do debriefs at the end of every session, and we tell them, this is your third, fourth, fifth orientation, but for the incoming student, it's their first. And so you have to make sure that the experience is always top notch, that they're always having fun, that they're always smiling, that they feel welcomed. And our orientation leaders also help us basically welcome them into the college to welcome week, which is going on right now, which explains the attire. But yeah.
Mr. Rivera, I have a question. Like, okay, suppose somebody does come to orientation and it's maybe a lot to take in one day and 8 hours or whatever, right? However many hours are here all day. Can they then get online and like they, oh, how is it that I could lose my credit? Or, you know, do you all have that online, like a refresher, just in case that they want to go back and see, you know, something that they're not sure about, that we talked, or that you guys talked about at the orientation?
Definitely. I will
Okay.
be candid. Not many people are willing to
Of course.
re-enroll
I
on
know.
another orientation.
I know.
But I will say, interestingly enough, it's interesting that you mentioned that. For the first time ever, Mr. Rubin was able to help us record certain sessions. We were
Okay.
able to get our financial aid presentation. It's actually on YouTube. Moving forward, we're going to add that to our website so that parents also have access to that information.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Clip in the classroom.
yes, we
Yes.
have access to all these things. We have our presentations online. We have them on a shared drive that our students have access to. Yes, and the most important thing, the most important component is our students are given an introduction to welcoming and smiling
Yes.
staff members.
Yes.
And so whenever at the end of orientation, and anybody that works in Lerma Peña knows this, at 5:15 they get a plethora of students, 100, 150 that we send over from after completing orientation. We send them over and they take care of business. We've been here since till 8 p.m. in certain locations because we want to make sure that we help them all. And so not only do they get the content, but they also get to make that connection with that full-timer, that staff member that can help them throughout their time here. So it's a very complete experience. I will say that.
Did you have a question?
Suggestion.
May I, Madam Chair?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Rivera, just to note, you said that the meals, we provided them and we paid for it? That's really nice. Yeah, it paid for it.
During orientation, yes, they eat they're given food all day long,
Oh, yeah.
and yes. But I think the reference he was making was to the meal plan. And so the only way they can access the meal plan is if they're here.
Yeah,
Right, so-
got it. And I just want to say that, Dr. Resola, my nephew, he also mentioned that no, Tio, it was really cool. It was badass. Like, and I was just like,
I'm
oh,
glad.
cool. So
I'm glad.
So I know you're doing your job, and I see you, Mr. Rivera, up and down, and in every event that we have, and you're always bringing these kids in. So great job. I mean, I think you bring a lot of enthusiasm to these kids, and that's really good. That's really, really good to give them that college life, of having friends, because they're so used to just being in a certain group of people, and it's nice to break them out of that and put them into some other kids that could possibly change their lives, in the sense of, hey, I have a new friend, have somebody that can help me, or whatever it is. So that's really cool. I like what you're doing.
Right in line with what you mentioned of feeding them throughout the summer whenever they come to their sessions. Another thing that I noticed today is a lot of their students that are here are actually carrying the school supplies in the backpacks that we provide them throughout orientation. And so being able to provide that additional level of support is also rewarding.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you see them with a green duffel bag that says LC, that's through
Very
orientation.
cool.
Very good.
Congratulations.
you.
Congratulations.
Suggestion, or maybe it's already being done, but this is an awesome way to promote LC, of course, right? But to do it for the dual enrollment. It'd be great to have some sort of, not orientation, I mean, but online, where they can view a video about all the different.
I will say,
aspects.
I will say our recruitment and dual enrollment already takes care of that. They
Good.
they do preview days, they bring them to campus. We actually bring them to the office, we give them their IDs, they get t-shirts.
Cool.
They get a
Okay,
very similar
great,
experience to
great.
orientation, but that's been taken care of since before I got here.
Awesome.
And the reason they'll do the preview days, they do all that other stuff, but there has to be a distinction between what they do as high school students, and then since we made orientation mandatory, a distinction between what they experience during their dual credit experience and
And
what
when they
they're going to
come.
experience as a first time in college student. And so there is that level of distinction, but there is
Like a welcome to.
a welcome
Yes.
to, yes, there is still something that does happen throughout the year as those dual credit students are coming in.
Very good. Any other questions? Okay. Let us
Thank you.
move on. If I can find my paper. Okay.
I just want to say thank you real quick.
Ms. Newsom?
Because I know that when schools call and say, hey, can I take a group of students, so they can get, a little orientation. I know it makes a big difference for these kids, maybe that aren't in the dual enrollment programs, AKA some of the ones I used to have in the years past. I still get messages from these students that come to my graduation. Or they'll send me a picture of their certification or whatever. And I just want to thank you all, because I know that you make these special arrangements for different groups, and I want you to know that it does make a difference. That helps students to actually take that step, students that would have probably never gone to college. So I'm really happy about that, and I wanted to say thank you.
Very good. Okay, then we're going to move on to number 6, Laredo College Workforce Education Program Advisory Committee Overview. Dr. Heriberto Hernandez.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Ramirez, colleagues, Heriberto Hernandez, Associate Provost. We heard earlier about the tremendous success based on the Student Success Report Card, and a tremendous component of that is the external partnerships that we have, not only with the donor relations, but the other major component is with the programmatic advisory committees. All right, so today I want to just provide a brief overview of these advisory committees and what their main functions are and what tremendous impact they have on our programs.
Okay.
So here we have all of the departments that make up the Workforce Education Division and the Health Science Division. We have approximately close to 20 individual departments. Some of these departments have several programs within them. For example, the transportation department has the auto collision program, the diesel technology program, and the automotive technology program. So each of these programs have an advisory committee. Because of the legislative updates, one of the update they did was a little bit unfortunate, but we still practice it. So before, the advisory committee was a requirement per THECB. So now they removed that requirement, and it's simply as a resource, but we're keeping internally that requirement just because of the tremendous impact that it has on our programs.
Very good.
So there's different functions of the advisory committee, but the two main roles is ensuring that a program, each individual program, has adequate resources and has a well-designed curriculum. So industry for our workforce programs drive the curriculum, right? And that's designed that way because we want to produce students that are workforce ready on day one. So we want to minimize that that learning curve. The only way to do that is to making sure that our competencies align with what the industry needs. The other major role is it helps the college document the need for a career and technical education program. So whenever we're thinking of starting a new program, we'll have what we call an exploratory advisory committee made up of the industry stakeholders of that proposed program. We come together and we decide, or they decide, if this is a viable program. There's other benchmarks, other requirements that we need to meet to ensure that it's a credential of value, but this is a component, a major component of that decision. So the key advisory committee functions, like I mentioned, industry insight and guidance. Committees provide valuable perspective from industry, ensuring that programs remain relevant and up to date with workforce trends. Again, they drive the curriculum, so they suggest any updates to the curriculum, helping aligning to educational outcomes with the specific job requirements for each of those programs. And finally, the program evaluation and success. The committee reviews the data, recommend strategies to promote either student success or continuous improvement or enrollment trends, right? So every advisory committee, we have 2 advisory committees throughout the year, one in the spring semester and one in the fall semester.
Okay, so I was gonna ask.
So these are critical because, again, if we're going to make any curricular changes, we'll present them to the board, to the committee, and then they give the final vote of approval. So the composition of the advisory committee, the membership represents, again, the occupational demographics as well as the occupational field in all the sectors of the business community within the institution's service area. So again, for every workforce health science program, the requirement is to have an advisory committee. Members are well informed about the knowledge, skills, and abilities required for the occupation. So most of these advisory committee members are industry practitioners. They're currently in the industry. We do have some full-time faculty that are part of the advisory committee, as well as some part-time faculty, but they're on a non-voting status. As well as educational partners are also generally a part of the committee, not necessarily to vote on, but to be aware of any updates. So the dual enrollment, for example, facilitators will be part of our advisory committees. Particularly, we have one of these programs seeing the high school students. The meeting protocol, again, we have what was required before was at least once per year. We went above that and had one per semester. We're going to continue that practice. And again, during the development stage of a new program, we'll meet, and it's not out of the ordinary to meet 6 or 7 times during the creation of that new program. All meetings of an advisor are recorded as official meeting minutes. So we'll have just a compilation of all these advisory committee meetings. So again, the benefits of the advisory committee, just to wrap it up, it's direct industry alignment with what the workforce needs. We have curriculum and program quality, work-based learning and student opportunities, and then it provides evidence for funding and accountability. I don't know if there's any questions.
Any questions?
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes, Mr. Rangel?
Thank you. Dr. Heriberto, this is really good. You mentioned about the committees, of course, but how often do you meet with the stakeholders and revamp if, I don't know, X needs this certification, and how often do we do that so we could keep up in line with the demand that they're asking for?
We meet officially once every semester,
Oh,
but the
okay.
communication is continuous, right?
And does it ever happen that they communicate with you on saying, let's say you already met, but I don't know, just like us, the state just throws stuff at you, and let's just say it's something with transportation, right? Like how you mentioned, and now they're requiring a new, certification, and we need to update. How does that work? How do you implement that as soon as possible so we could be up to date with that?
So it depends. If it's a competency that we can embed into the current curriculum, it can happen right away. If it's something a little bit more extensive, then that would require a curricular change and going through the curriculum committee. So I'll give you a perfect example. We were recently contacted by one of the advisory committees for the diesel technology. And they expressed a shortage in reefer technicians. So the reefers, you have the tractor trailer, it's the air conditioning unit in front of the trailer.
Right.
There's a severe shortage of those technicians. Right, so that's going to be a little bit more involved. We're developing curriculum for that, but it does take a while to develop that curriculum and implement it. But here's where the advisory committees are really a great resource, because they can provide us with that equipment. They can provide us with the reefers. They can provide us with the competency that we require in that program. There's other competencies that are very not as in depth as that. Right, so it might be just a tweak to the current curriculum, and then we can implement those changes right away within the existing curriculum.
But we don't have to get that approved by the educational board.
It
No,
depends.
it depends.
It depends,
If
también.
it's,
It
for
depends.
example,
Okay.
for the reefer, in that example, that's going to be a standalone certification.
Okay,
It's just
so we're
an
gonna have to.
in-depth, right? So that would have to go through the whole curricular process.
Does-
But they also do programmatic reviews. I don't know if you want to discuss that.
Yes, so every year we do the programmatic reviews, and that's presented to the advisory committee as well. And there we'll go over the graduate levels, the retention, the skills, the competencies. So everything is communicated to the advisory committee, and they do have a significant role in driving the curriculum. That's what they do. That's really their job.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
because we need
it
to
makes
align
a
it.
lot of sense. They're the ones that are going to be hiring.
Right.
Now that leading to that, my next question is, whenever you meet with the advisors, with the committee, do they already come with like a set number of like, you know what, Mr. Heriberto, I'm going to need 5 technicians for this, like the stakeholders, like so we could be able to say, okay, you know what, Esteban, you just got certified in this. You can apply with this company, this company, this company. Are we doing that to help them?
Definitely, yes, and during these advisory committee meetings, they'll bring that up.
Okay.
But I want to stress the ongoing relationship that we have with them throughout the year.
Yeah.
Right, our department chairs are real good at maintaining that communication, not only for these opportunities, but a lot of these advisory committees, their companies host our students as cooperative learning sites. Right, so that's in line with the work-based learning and student opportunities.
Got it.
So what's happened most of the time, or we've been very successful in that a student will start as a cooperative learning student, just getting that hands-on experience. The company likes what they see, and then they hire the students
hire
once they
them.
graduate.
That's really good. Good job, doctor. Very, very good. Thank
Very
you, Madam
good.
Chair.
And I have just a comment. I really am happy that you all include the full-time faculty or even the part-time faculty, because I think that it is important for them to hear
Definitely.
The needs.
from the community or the stakeholders what their needs are, not because sometimes they're removed from that, because they've been teaching for a while or whatever, right? So I think it's very, very important. And I also think it's important for those stakeholders, those partners of ours, to meet our teachers and our
Definitely.
faculty, and together I think they do more. So
One
good.
of the initiatives that was mentioned earlier was a 4-week model. And we
sure they
use
do.
that
We
in
can
the
add it.
workforce. And the advisory committees were critical and really like you said, pushing that to the faculty. So some faculty were
Because
We're
they're very,
reluctant.
yes, they are.
But once they heard it from the advisory committee that, hey, it does make sense, they're going to be focusing only on, one course at a time, it kind of gave a different perspective for the faculty.
I think they see what people are asking for,
Sure.
because a lot of times it's just with you all. And,
Well,
you
and a
know,
lot of times those students are working full-time, and so
Mhm.
focusing on one class at a time
Yeah,
really helps
yes.
their success rate,
Mhm.
but two, it also gives them that flexibility. I'm taking the morning cohort and I can work all afternoon, or
Yes.
I'm in the afternoon cohort and I can work all morning and in the evening.
Yes.
They're able to be a little more flexible with their schedule.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody else? Question? Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
That was awesome.
Okay. We've come to the end of our meeting. Do we need to do, we don't? Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
The time.
The time now
time.
is 51 minutes after 6 o'clock. 50 minutes,
6:50.
6:51. Thank you very much. Okay. The meeting is over. Thank you, everybody
I
here.
think I've got sugar rush.
Thank you.
Hey, Mom.